Hi, my name is Vaibhav Sharma. I am with Saket today here to present learning management solutions to AS Watson, a proposed solution framework by Vinculum. Firstly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank AS Watson team for giving us a chance to present this solution framework based on Moodle technology. Moving on to slide number 2. Over here you would see that we have broadly emphasized a sort of an engagement scope, and what we understand is that AS Watson, considering the size of the organization and the retail outlets, are looking for a automated learning management tool that allows them to manage training, the company announcements, to ensure new product launches are properly trained to staff and to store employees, and are able to track that through BI reporting and dashboarding. This tool also integrates with the primary HRMS systems and master data. Moving on to slide number 3, the proposed solution from our side is obviously a Moodle based, open source, fully customizable e-learning solution based on Scrum 1.2 compatibility platform. This tool integrates with external applications, as I said, like HRMS and CRM. LDAP is used to map employee and the role hierarchy of an individual within the organization. The tool is compatible on Android, iOS, which is technically a mirror of the primary website. And the tool also works both offline and online. That's why we're going for Moodle. Moving on to slide number 4, this is the proposed solution architecture from our side, where Moodle in the center is the tool that we will be developing for AS Watson. And as you can see, that this tool can seamlessly integrate with your identity management systems, HRMS on your employee side, and also with e-portfolio. Now, moving on to slide number 5, this talks about the administration map for Moodle. Color coding helps us to understand what all functionality is possible in terms of application development, and how exactly the tool will be developed and mapped within the AS Watson organization structure. Moving down to slide number 6, this is the role hierarchy. What we understand is there's going to be a corporate head of IT or training who would have multiple managers for different retail outlets in different regions, and this is how we will be structuring the entire role of employee and superior in terms of engagement, in terms of training, in terms of product releases, in terms of announcements. Now, moving on to slide number 7, a proposed implementation hierarchy, which is more or less focused on the global conglomerate AS Watson, and then we have multiple companies within the AS Watson umbrella, company A, B, and C, and within these companies there will be multiple retail outlet bases a particular region. So what we are proposing here is we are going to do clustering of the tool Moodle application, and that will enable AS Watson to region-wise control content, releases, information basis a particular company. Now, quickly, I will be passing on the microphone to Saket, who will be talking more about the actual tool.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Okay, just starting with the last slide, what we are going to do is, in this last slide, what you see is the proposed solution to how AS Watson might implement this technology within the existing framework that they have. So what I'll start over is with the demo of the application. So give me 1 second here. Let me go back to my desktop. So for demo purposes, we are going to use an Android emulator that's called BlueStack. So I'm going to start that. And it's going to show how the app is going to look in any of the platforms, be it Android or be it iOS. So once this application start over, you would actually see a home screen which pretty much looks like your Android on your phone. Okay, so this is like the home screen. What we do over here is we will start our own application, the demo application. So I click over here and we come to the login screen. The very first login screen. Just give me 1 second, I'm so sorry for that. So this is how the login screen would look like. So being an administrator, you would put your username over here, your password over here, and then you do the login. So let me go ahead and click login over here. Now what you see over here is basically the landing page of the application within an Android or an iOS system. So here you can see it's the Vinculum Learning Management System. At the top you would see there are 3 tabs. One is for blocks, settings, and navigation. So the blocks are basically your favorites, anything if the administrator uses a lot of training modules, or uploads a lot of videos, he can save that within the blocks tab over here. So it works as a favorite. I'll get into it. The settings, as the name suggests, is for setting up the system. If you want to add another user, if you want to add another role hierarchy, you get into the settings module here. The third one is of course the navigation tab. If you're within the system somewhere and you want to go back to your home page, or go, let's say, into region X or Y, or a particular place within the application, you use the navigation tab over here. Moving on, the next 3 things that you see over here is one for managing users. So if you have a lot of users in the system, you can actually get into this setting over here, and you would see the list of the entire user organization wide. You can go ahead and add more users. You can manage them if you want to change someone's password, if you want to delete a user, somebody left the company, or a store manager has been replaced. You can go do all of that from using this page. So over here you can see all the demo personnels that we have added, and it could go to n number of pages. You also have a add a new user button over here. So if you click over here, it actually takes you into the application where you can fill in the fields like create a username, put a new password, a first name, a last name, and create a new user in the account. Okay, I'll go back to the home page again, and I use the navigation button over here. So it brings me back to my first page. The other thing you can do from manage users page is you can search for users as well. Okay. The second thing, what we have done, as Vaibhav did show you the last slide on the presentation on how we propose, we don't have the exact requirements right now, but how we propose how we can set up the entire organization within this application. So if you look at the organization structure here, it shows exactly the same thing that we showed you on the slide. So within the the global conglomerate, or the parent company, there could be multiple child companies like company A, B, and C. Within those companies, you can set up subdivisions of those companies like company AA, company AB. It does not matter, this is just an example. So let's say if there's a retail outlet and you deal in 2 things, one might be into FMCG products, and one might be into the cosmetics. So this could be a company AA and company AB. Within company AA, then you can go further and define it according to the regions. So let's say the retail outlets for company AA are set up in Hong Kong. Some of them are set up in Indonesia. Some of them are probably set up in Beijing. So you can define all those places. And each retail outlet, so let's say the retail outlets in Beijing service or deliver products that are different from the region Y, which might be in Indonesia. So you can give different kind of training platforms to those employees. You can, give them different kind of company announcements. And a person in one particular region would not have access to the other region's announcement and things. It entirely depends on how you set up the system. If a person is managing 2 regions, he can still access, according to the permissions given to him, 2 different regions as well. Okay. And if we go into the region X, you would actually go ahead and see what kind of capabilities or what kind of study material or content that we are delivering region wide. Okay, again I'll go back to the home page before we dive in what we can do with this application. So again, go back to the home page. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this is our home page. The third thing at the top you would see is your dashboard, which is another important tool. As we understand, this is a demo application, uh, the dashboard really does not work over here, but this is how we are proposing it's going to show you. You know, you'll have your standard reports showing up over here. So if you're running a standard report for the entire region, you can simply run it through here. You can do customization of the reports. So if you're doing it for particular set of store managers, you can customize that report and get the data over here. The third thing is if you're looking for some kind of recent activity, let's say if you have delivered some kind of training to all your store employees and store managers, and you just want to see what kind of output the training has given, you probably would want to see the recent activities. Okay, and then of course there are approvals. So if there's some kind of a video upload that your store manager is doing for, let's say, region X, you don't want them to just upload it without taking permission from the administrator. So here we will have an approval tab. So once a store manager wants to upload something, he will upload it in the system, but before it goes and it can be displayed to the entire region or the entire chain of employees, he'll have to first get the approval from the administration who's managing the entire app or the application. Okay, so this is how it's going to be a dashboard which will have all the graphs, so it's easy to read. You would get pie charts for easy comparison on what is going on, what's the status of something that you have recently done. Okay, and it would be a very good dashboard, but like I said, this is a demo application, and we'll have to work on this, in order to to see how it works with the application. So let's go back to the home page again. So once you're back on the home page, you would see, like I said, what we are going to do is we're going to divide the entire content within the application region-wide. This is an example. It entirely depends, once we are getting all the requirements from your company, we might come up with a different setup. But for this example, we have divided contents according to regions. So for example, let's get into region X. So once you're in region X, you would see the different kind of contents that you can put in for your employees or for your sales manager or your store managers to go through. So there's different kind of things that you can do. You could absolutely put news or announcements for if there's some nationwide announcement for your company that probably you have hired a new HR manager, or there's a new product that is being launched, or a new kind of services that your stores are going to provide. You can absolutely put it in the dashboard news column over here. So once you click on it, you can actually see, you could upload all kind of discussion news items here. So for this demo, we have uploaded 3 kind of news items here. So these are the news. If you actually click on them, you can go and read through the entire article. So this is how the article is going to be. So if there's any article published for your company and you want to share it with your employees, you can absolutely upload it. Everybody could read it on their mobile, through their Android app or their iOS app. And the second thing the employees can do, they can even reply or comment on the articles that you have put in. So for example, it kind of works like your Facebook homepage. You're putting up status messages, or you're putting up some kind of content on Facebook, and your friends can come and comment about it. They can ask you questions about it, and accordingly you can even reply to that. Okay, moving on, I'll show you what all other contents you can have here. So let me go back to region X. You can absolutely put Scrum content for training here. This is a wonderful application here. As we all know, Scrum is one of the things that most of the training managers like these days. So let me show you how it's going to work. So if you have uploaded some kind of training material which is in Scrum, which is Scrum content, it's going to show up over here. It's going to show you how it would appear in the Android application. Again, this is a POC. Don't go on the looks for this. If that it's not showing up at the best way it should, but it is going to deliver the entire Scrum content. It's going to be movable. It's going to be Flash capable. And your employees can actually go in and learn a lot of things from this. Moving on, I'll go into other type of contents that you can put in. As the name suggests, it's a virtual training class. So if let's say if you have a training manager that you recently hired, but he sits in, let's say, in Hong Kong, and you're trying to make him train your store employees sitting in Indonesia, or let's say in Beijing, that can be done by using this virtual classroom. He can sit, and if he has a camera on a system, he can absolutely, do a virtual training here. The employees would be able to see him. He can even share content with them. So if he wants to run some kind of a PowerPoint, or share some kind of a video file, or let's say share some kind of a Word document, he can absolutely do that. And at the same time, he would be virtually appearing on the screen for every employee's Android application, so they can ask him real-time questions, get answers. So this is a very good tool that they can use. You can schedule classes over here. So if the training is going to happen, let's say somewhere in the end of October, you can get it scheduled, send the invitation to your all employees, tell them what time this training manager is going to be present, and you can accordingly go ahead with the training. Okay. Moving back, let's go back to region X again. You can absolutely upload content. So if you have Word files that you want to share with your store employees, or with your store managers, you can get it uploaded over here. They can absolutely, like we were reading the dashboard articles, they can absolutely read those documents as well. Then of course, you have the training quiz. So let's say your company delivered some kind of trainings to the employee, and now they want to test it. How many employees, are actually, they know the content that was presented to them, and would be able to service the customers according to that. So you can, give them training quizzes, and once the quiz are attempted by your employees, you can actually manage the results using the dashboard. So you can absolutely see the store in Beijing, if there are 100 employees over there, what kind of scores those people got. If they're scoring 50%, 60%, do they need the training again? You can make decisions on that, and the entire results would be given in a form of pie charts, or in visible forms, where the understanding is more clear. Okay, so you can absolutely, just to show you an example how you can attempt the quiz. This is one of the examples of quizzes that we have uploaded on the system. So I'm going to click here and give it a second, and like it says, the first question is, which of the following is not a function of retailing? So you have a multiple choice over here, if it's assembling a range of goods, giving advice and information, and you can absolutely select that and hit the next button. And this is how any employee, any manager can give these quizzes, and you can absolutely get the results in your hand. Okay, moving on, let's go back to the region X content, and you can get employee feedbacks. You can run store surveys, if you want to know if your employees are happy, or if they like some kind of training, if they're happy with their store managers, and you run these kind of surveys all the time. But with this application, the entire survey or the feedback that you get would be on the tip of your hands. You could absolutely see it and review it, what kind of feedback you're getting from your employees. Okay. The final thing I would show you over here is the video. If there's some kind of video file that the administrator has uploaded, and you want to make sure that everybody sees that, the video can be played on the application itself. So let me just go ahead and show you one of the examples here. So if you see, I've just clicked on the video, and it's going to start playing up. Let me click play. So this is how the video is going to appear. Okay, so moving on, let me go back to region X. And like I said, these contents are not for everyone. So you define permissions. So this content is only visible to people who are from region X, or your retail outlets in region X. So an employee from region Y would not have the permissions to see that. Okay, so you can maintain those kind of things. And the best thing is, you can even have the contents, you can either have them delivered weekly, monthly, or as you wish. You can have the time frame set up within the system. Okay, here it is. Now let's go back to the home page again. And once we are back, you're going to see, we have gone through, the main headings over here for managing users, your dashboard. These are the courses, as an administrator, you can actually get into any region and manage the content over here. So if there are even 1500 regions over here, you can go into each region as an administrator and manage those contents. There are more tabs at the bottom. You have, of course, the calendar. So if you go on the calendar, you can actually, if there's any upcoming events, so if there's an annual meeting, for your store employees, you can absolutely put it as an event over here, and they would be able to, add it to their calendars. They would get notifications that, tomorrow there's an annual event at 11 o'clock, don't miss it. So these are the things, you keep everything up to date. Okay. The last thing I'm going to show you over here are the messages. Now these messages can be exchanged between any employee. So let's say an employee X wants to communicate with another employee within the store, or probably his store manager. He can absolutely do that. He can search for people, send out messages, and the best thing is the administrator has visibility to see all that content. Nothing is hidden from the admin. So if you want the store managers to see what kind of messages the employees are sharing, you can give him the permission as well. Okay. Now the final thing, like I said, the blocks, I told in the very start of the presentation, the blocks are your favorites. You can go ahead and add things over here. Of course, as this is the POC, we haven't really added stuff here, but you can go ahead and start adding your favorites in the system. The last thing, let's go back to the home page, and I'll just show you how the settings page is going to look for the administrator. So once the administrator is in the settings page, he can manage, of course, the users. He can make clusters or groups, for certain kind of employees. He can assign them permissions, what kind of permission he wants to give to one kind of store managers, let's say for the store managers of region X, and the permissions might differ from a different store manager in a region. So you can set up that. You can run a lot of reporting over here. Live reporting basically means, if there are thousands of employees logging into the system, you can do the live logs, and you would know what each employee is doing at that time within the application. Very good tool. You could know if your employees are actually using the tool, if they're reading the documents that you're sending out to them. Question bank, absolutely. If you're running some kind of trainings, every quarter or every month, you can upload those questions over here. And when you're making those quizzes that I showed you, when we went into region X, you can, just import those questions from your question bank and send it out to the employees. You can manage your profiles, the different kind of hierarchy roles that you want to set up in the system, be it managers, be the administrators, sub-administrators, you can do all that. And of course, you can manage blogs, and you can know the recent activities. Okay, let me go back. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log into the system as a manager, as a store manager in the system, so that you would see how the application actually looks when you are using it as an administrator, then as a store manager, and then as a normal employee. Okay, so let's go and see the system now as a store manager. Okay, so we of course going to change the username here. So the username, like we have created, is store manager X because this manager manages the region X within the system. And then we go and put the password over here. So here we go. Click login. And once in the application, you would see what I mean by permissions. Of course, the dashboard is still present there, but the dashboard here would only be for region X when the system is set up. So if the store manager wants to see how his region is doing, or he wants to run some kind of reporting for the employees within his store, he's going to use the dashboard. Again, all the favorites, his settings are going to work just for that particular store. But he has access to just one region in the system. He does not have access to region Y or Z or any other region that the administrator had. Again, he goes into region X. He would have all the content available for him. He can manage that content if he's given the permission. He can upload quizzes, he can run employee feedback, and of course everything is going to be available not just to him but the administrator as well. Okay, it's going to look the same, it's just the permissions which are going to differ, from an administrator to a store manager. And moving on, once I'll get into an employee system, an employee cannot upload anything. He might be able to comment on some kind of a news item or a company announcement that you have put, but he's not going to upload things on his own. Okay, so let's say if it's employee, let's say this is an employee from region X and his number is 1. We're going to put his password here. Okay, and we log in. And similar to the store manager, he's going to see just the region X because he's from region X. That's the permission he has. But different from the administrator and the store manager, he can't actually go and upload things here. He can go ahead and read it, but he cannot, go and make changes to the system. Okay, so if he wants to go and upload some kind of a video file, he cannot do that. But if he wants to run some kind of a chat, a discussion or a chat within the store employees, but he will have to take permission from the store manager or however you set up the hierarchy in the system. Okay, this is pretty much it. This is, like I said, is the POC. We would have loved to give this presentation directly to you guys so that we could have answered your questions that you might have had. But what I and Vaibhav and the Winclum team can suggest, if you have any kind of questions, please feel free to email us. You could get in touch with Ashish Mahajan or probably Braj, and we would be very happy to answer those questions to you. But please keep in mind, this is a POC, and it does not show the true strength and the true scope of the entire application. But like I said, once we are given sufficient time to do and work on this application, it's going to look phenomenal. It's going to be awesome. So once again, thank you from me and Vaibhav over here, and we hope to hear from you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.